Yet they cannot explain the Quran. And at the end of the day, the Muslim, they say Allah knows best. And to make it more horrible, even the Quran says that no one knows what the Quran means save Allah. I'm going to publish a book soon. It's called No One Knows What the Book of a Christian Prince Means Save a Christian Prince. And that will make my book a miraculous. It's not about being, confusing and stupid and say whatever. It's about the miraculous because nobody understands it. My Skype is open for any Muslim is willing to call us live on air. Please feel free. If you go on YouTube, you will find thousands and thousands of videos about where is Allah. The funny, the Muslims, they are trying to tell us, they are trying to figure out where is Allah. How you know even He exists? And then if you go try to like to examine what they say to us in their websites, which is I find it kind of hilarious. As an example here, where is Allah? Okay, where is Allah? Here we go. Where is Allah? Who is Allah? If you read how the Muslim they give us the definition of Allah, you will die laughing. Allah is the proper name applied to true God. That's who's Allah. So all what you know about your God, that his name is Allah. Okay, what Allah mean? They don't know. Hmm? Who's Allah? All the excellent divine names and attribute perfection. Allah is one and unique. He has no son. Nice to meet you guys. Allah have no son. He has no partner. He has no equal. He has no he is the sole creator, the sustainer of the universe. Every creature bear witness to his oneness. So why Allah wanna kill the pigs? If every creature bear witness for his and what do you mean we bear witness for his creation? Here we go. I don't bear witness. I mean, what is that? Is that a definition, or this is a statement of somebody he believe blindly? All creation they believe in his oneness. Who are those creations? Cockroaches, cats, rats, dogs, goats. What do you mean? So you see here right away when they start trying to present their God for us, they are making a statement which is silly. What do you mean? What this is mean? I thought you are going to tell me who is Allah. All what you are saying to me, an assumption, a theory, that there's someone you don't even know, you never met, you never heard. Muslims, they never saw Allah, they never heard Allah, they never spoke to them, not even once. This is why I call him the muted Allah. Allah is a mute God. And not only that, the Muslim they say to us that Allah, after he sent Muhammad, he went in a strike. Muhammad is the last prophet. Allah is now is in a mute. And then if we go down, you will see every creature bear witness to his oneness, divinity, and rububiyyah. Like, supposedly the Muslims, they are making for us like an article, and their article is in English, and then they say rububiyyah. Like, supposedly you know what rububiyyah mean. I mean, like rububiyyah. Okay, what rububiyyah? And then here, I info of Rabb, and the unique of his attribute names. What the unique about them? He get angry, I get angry. Allah, he cheat, I can cheat too. Allah, he lie, I can lie too. Allah is a deceiver, I can deceive too. Shaitan is a deceiver too. What is unique about the attribute of Allah? What is unique about his attribute? And then they quote for us a verse from the Old Testament, copying it and put it in the Quran, and they say there is none like unto him. But if this is the case, if this is the proof, who is he? Well, here we go. The God of the Christian, they say the same. And not only that, none like me too. Do you know, according to science, that there's none like me? Does that mean I'm God? Until now, they fail to tell us who is Allah. Oh, what they are saying to us, uh, a fantasy statement, like somebody he saw a dream, and then in a dream he told us he did not even see who he's talking about. Like the Muslim did not even see the one they are talking about. Did Muhammad see Allah? No. Did he spoke to Allah? No. So what Muhammad knows about Allah? What Muhammad knows about Allah, that there is a guy, he came to him and he squeezed him, and he told him read in the name of your Lord. That's it. How we know that the one who squeezed Muhammad is not the devil? And since when, in order to make you a prophet, I need to squeeze you? What is the purpose of the squeezing? Muslims, they take things without checking it out. An angel of God, yet he is squeezing his prophet. Why? Don't you find that this is strange? The first time the angel he came to Muhammad, he hold him so tight and he squeezed him 3 times. Okay, why? And Muhammad did not even know who is the one is squeezing him. And not only that, he did not even ask him who you are. Have you ever heard of somebody squeezing somebody? He don't ask him who are you? Stop touching me. Maybe the prophet, he used to be squeezed, so it was normal for him to be squeezed. That's why he did not ask who are you. Maybe the angel, he thought Muhammad is a lemonade. All the story does not make sense. If there is any Muslim who tell us what is that is about, please let me know. Do we have any Muslim in the chat? My Skype is open in case you do not know. If you like to call me, and you are a Muslim only, please. Only Muslim are welcome to call me live on air. Hmm. Anyone? Now let us go to something else. In the same article, they say to us, "Does no one share his dominion?" So what do you mean no one share his dominion? Isn't Muhammad, he says that his name written in the chair of Allah? Is that the dominion of Allah? The chair. The chair of Allah is not even free from the name of Muhammad. When a Muslim convert to Islam, what he have to admit? He have to say Shahada. What the Shahada? Is it saying that God is Allah? No. You have to say Allah and Muhammad. So Muhammad and Allah, they share dominion. Not only they share dominion of the share and the authority, they share the dominion of knowledge. If you go and search in the hadith, all the hadith says that Allah and his messengers knows best. Is the dominion of knowledge shared by Muhammad, which mean Allah and Muhammad, they have the knowledge? What do you mean when the Muslims and Muhammad agree with them that Allah and his messengers knows best? What does that mean? Hmm? How Muhammad, he is sharing the knowledge of Allah? And you notice how they associate the name of their God with the name of the man who his name is Muhammad, claiming that Muhammad have the knowledge of Allah and Allah share the knowledge of his own with Muhammad. Hmm? Allah and his apostle knows best. You see, if I say that me and Elohim knows best, that means I am claiming that the God of the Christians and me knows best. I have the knowledge of God and no one else have it. God, he shared the domain of knowledge with me. It's not about God anymore. There is others who have the knowledge of Allah. Do we have any Muslim want to say anything? In the top of that, the Muslims, they say to us that Allah, he sent 124,000 messenger. How many? Don't you think the number is small? And here you see the madness. Allah, He sent 124,000 messenger, and Muhammad is the last one. Why? I mean, is that fair? Mankind today, they are like guided and there's no need and that's it. 124,000, which means Allah, He was popping messengers and prophet like eggs, like a chicken laying eggs. It's like an ant. The queen ant, she lay a lot of eggs. Question: who can name for us the 124,000 prophet? Who is the prophet for India? By the way, according to the Quran, the yellow pages of Allah, it says that Allah, He never sent the messenger except in the tongue of His own people. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ رَسُولٍ إِلَّا بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ. What does that mean? Chapter 14, verse number 4. And we never send a messenger save with the language of his folk. So he have to be from them, speaking their language. Not only he speak the language, he have to be from them. But this verse destroyed the whole religion of Islam. Anyone knows why? What's wrong with this verse? What do you think, guys? What's wrong with this verse? How old is earth? That explains the huge number of prophet. My friend, your God Allah, He created the earth, and then the earth is supposedly the history of man since the time of Adam, and the time of Adam is not long, really far. So where is the prophets? I'm asking very simple questions. India alone have hundreds of languages. Hundreds, I think maybe 400 languages. That's mean Allah, He should send 400, at least 400 messenger to India alone. 400 prophets. Name one. Can you name one for us? And this verse have a problem, big problem. Actually, Islam is shish kebab because of this verse. Who noticed what the problem with this verse? Who noticed? This verse is a disaster. This verse is a disaster, proving that the one who wrote the Quran is an idiot. If Allah, He sent messengers only from the people, He have to be from them, not a foreigner, and he have to speak the language for sure. In order for what? Logical. Allah is using logic for the first time, is getting smarter. He says in order to make it clear for them. That's wonderful. How Muhammad is a messenger for the Bangladesh? How Muhammad became a messenger for Zakir Naik? Is he from India? Is he from Bangladesh? Is he from Pakistan? Is he from China? Is he from America? Is he from Europe? In order to send the messenger, he have to be from them, speak the language of his folk. He have to be from the folk, speak in the language of the folk in order to make it clear for them. That's mean Islam is a false cult, because the one who speak Arabic is a very small number, and actually not all of them are Arab. And the verse is so clear. He have to be from the folk, speak in the language of the folk. Somebody saying to me, I did not get it. Okay, Muhammad is an Arab, right? So what is the folk of Muhammad the Arab? Focus with me, please. When the Quran say his folk, who is my folk? If I am an Arab, who is my folk? Who is my folk? The Chinese, the Japanese, or the Arab? I am an Arab, so my folk are Arab. So I have to be from the folk, from this group, and I have to speak their language. So in order for Muhammad to be international messenger as they claim, Muhammad he have to speak the language and he have to be from the group. Which means if Muhammad was sent to the Indian, and India have hundreds of ethnic groups, not one ethnic, and hundreds of languages and religions, Muhammad he have to be 400 Muhammad. 400 Muhammad, each one of them is born between one of the folk of this nation. Are you getting my point? And the Quran is so clear. Why? The message will not be clear to them unless he speak the language of the folk. Do you see it? This is not me saying that. This is the Quran, and this is your translation. So Muhammad is a false prophet, because Muhammad is not from the folk and he don't speak their languages. So Quran getting Muhammad busted, showing the contradiction. And look, the Quran make it clear, we never sent. Do you see the word we never? We never sent, no exception. We never sent a messenger save he speak the language of his folk. Islam is a very silly, stupid cult. Bluntly, we don't want to change the topic. Let's focus on this topic in front of us. So here you notice that the 124,000 messenger, they have to be, each one of them at least, speaking the language of his people. But if we go in the Quran, we will find that the most of the messengers are to the Jews. Allah did not send. Did Allah send a Muslim messenger for the American Indian? There are many tribes and many languages. Did he send to the Chinese, who there are many nations and many languages? Did he send to the Russian? To what is that is about? And when the Quran says, in order to make the message clear for them, that's mean Allah will not send the message unless it is in your language, so you will understand it. Is the Arabic a clear message to Zakir Naik? Shabir Ali, Zakir Naik, Ahmed Didat, all of them they share one thing. None of them speak Arabic. I made a video about Didat, the funny Didat, who is making himself a scholar, but yet he do not know how to read Arabic. You believe it? So now we go back to zero. There's no way that the God, if this is a God who is saying this verse, he is the God of Muhammad. Because the God of Muhammad made it clear, I will never send a message to you unless it is in your language with the prophet from your people, in order to make it clear for you. That's mean Islam, all of it is a garbage. The whole idea, here we go. I remember the Quran says if the Quran is not from Allah, you will find in it a lot of contradiction. CP, you cannot even speak a classic Arabic. What do you mean I cannot speak classic Arabic? First of all, there's nothing is called the classic Arabic. But if you mean the Qurayshi Arabic, I speak it fluently. What does that mean? وما أرسلنا من رسول إلا بلسان قومه ليبين لهم فيفصل الله. What? Don't speak even classic Arabic. Arabic is not really a language by itself. Arabic is many languages. It's a collection of languages. But because of Islam, the official language became the language of Muhammad, which is Quraysh. But there's nothing is called really Arabic. Most of the Quran we see in front of us is nothing but other languages. And just to show you how Islam is funny, if you remember Muhammad, he said that Allah he sent him the Quran in 7 dialect. Why seven dialect? Why is that? Muhammad he explained, he says that because the Arab cannot understand the Quran. Imagine the Arab who they are Arab, they cannot understand the Quran in one dialect. So if the Arab they need 7 Quran, how somebody like Zakir Naik can understand the Quran? The Arab they needed 7 Quran, 7, not 1. Muhammad he claimed that Allah he sent him 7 Quran. Read carefully with me. This is Muhammad is talking. Jibril he came to Muhammad and he said to him, Allah has commanded you to recite to your people the Quran in one dialect. Okay, so Allah what? Said to him, read the Quran in one dialect. Look what Muhammad said. Muhammad don't like that. He said, I ask Allah. What's wrong with this page? Keep moving, dancing. Somebody playing music? I ask from Allah burden and forgiveness. My people are not capable of doing it. Okay, hold on. The people of Muhammad, one tribe, it's one tribe. The Quraysh is a small tiny village. It's a small tiny, actually we cannot even call it village. A small tiny village who speak one language and they are one tribe and they speak the same tongue. and they are not capable of doing it. Okay, so what the solution? He want more Quran in different dialect. Then he came for the second time. He who? Jibril, the one who squeezed people, you know. If you ever see somebody squeezing you, like this is you became a prophet. So Jibril came for the second time and he said to him, Allah has commanded you to recite the Quran to your people in two dialect. What? So now we have two Quran, but that will not work. Upon this, the Holy Prophet said, hey, 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 hello. What are you talking about? I seek pardon and forgiveness from Allah. My people would not be able to do so. Okay, so now we have two Quran. Still, the Muslims cannot understand the Quran and they cannot even like read it. It's not enough. Two Quran. So Jibril, he came back for the third time. Jibril is like the pizza boy. Go back, go back, go back, you know. Okay, he came for the third time. And he said to him, Allah has commanded you, brother, to recite the Quran to your people in three dialect. Are you happy, Prophet? The Prophet, no, he's not happy. He said to him, no, no, oh, hold on, hold on. I ask pardon and forgiveness from Allah. My people are really very stupid. They cannot handle it. My people would not be able to do it. Then he came for him for the fourth time. Look, what is that, man? Is that a joke? Is that a joke? If the Arab cannot understand the Quran unless it is 7 Quran, how someone who live in Bangladesh he can understand the Quran? And where are the 7 Quran? And in this story, and then the angel he keep going backward forward until it became 7 Quran. 7. That's it. Perfect. Perfecto. Isn't it Allah all knowledgeable? Muhammad is correcting Allah order. Allah he says be one dialect. Don't Allah knows? Look like Muhammad is out to smart his God. Because his God he thought one Quran is enough. Muhammad didn't agree. Two Quran is enough. Muhammad don't agree. 3, 4, 5, 6. Muhammad don't agree. At the 7, Muhammad he said, okay, now that's fine. Look what Fadi he says to me. You know, Fadi, I feel sorry for him. But look like Fadi is a very like he's a nice guy, but he don't want to use his brain. I think his brain is in vacation. Look, he said, well, if the Arab, they knew Muhammad is a liar. So how they believe in him? By the sword. By the sword. Don't you know that Muhammad he left Mecca and nobody believe in him? I know you're telling me Muhammad he joined as-Sa'alik, the outlaw, the criminals who they are kicked out from their tribes. Muhammad he became their leader. Otherwise, the Arab they said hundreds of times that this is nothing but stories, fabulous stories, fairy tale story, and you are acting as if you don't know. They accuse Muhammad that he is stealing information from many people who they live as slaves in Mecca, Assyrian slaves, Syrian slaves, who speak Hebrew and speak Aramaic. And Muhammad, he answered them in the Quran, saying to them, and we know well that they say only man teach him. They knew he is because he go and listen to those guys, and falsely, because this is a clear Arabic. What a clear Arabic. We just show you where it says in the hadith that the Arab cannot understand it. How it's clear Arabic yet he needs 7 Quran. I mean, do you see how clear it is? It's a clear Arabic, but yet he needs 7 Quran. But what is behind the 7 Quran for reality? Muhammad, he cannot repeat the same verse twice. So in order to cover his lies, he says, oh, yes, actually there's a video made by a guy, his name Samshi. I don't know if you're him. Shamshi, something, that's like sound like a Chinese. So Shamshi, he said that there is 2 Muslims. He was reading a hadith supposed to refute us as a Christian. 2 Muslims, they were reciting the Quran differently and they fought over it. The first one, he said to the other one, I heard the Prophet saying it differently. The other one, he says to him, you are a liar, the Prophet did not say it this way, I know how he said. Then one of them, he dragged the other one to Muhammad. He said, I wanted to kill him because he is reciting the Quran wrongly. The Prophet said to him, okay, you recite. The man recited. The Prophet said, okay, this is correct. The other guy, he said, but Prophet, he said, okay, you recite now. The other guy recited differently. Muhammad, he said to him, that's correct too, because this is how Allah, he sent it to me. He sent it to me in 7 ways. So Muhammad, he, in order to cover his ass and his lies, because he cannot repeat the word of Allah twice correctly, he needed to fabricate that Allah, he sent him the Quran in 7 ways. So if I tell you a story today and tomorrow I tell you the story differently, you cannot say to me you are lying. I will tell you that Allah told me the stories in 7 ways. You know what I mean? This is the whole idea behind this is 7. Did Allah send Musa's 7 Torah? Did Allah send the Injil to Isa in 7 Injil? What is that? And what he mean? My people are not able to do so. So how somebody who live in Pakistan now, he is reading translation is Yusuf Ali and it's enough for him? The Arab who speak Arabic, they are not able to do so. Do we have any blessing from Allah for us today to send us some Muslims to guide us to the truth? I want a Muslim to guide me so I can get the versions. I really need versions. Even if I go to the store, I buy virgin oil. I mean, I love virgins. Where is the Muslims? So all this religion, it does not mean any, it does not make any sense. It's silly. In the top of that, the Muslim, they made thousands of articles about scientific miracles in the Quran. Amazing discovery in the Quran, when the Quran is the most stupid book. Now after Allah he sent the Quran in 7 letters. Do you Muslims even explain the Quran? Do you even understand the Quran? Okay, what do you mean reference? We are showing you the reference. Reference for what? The one in the screen? Anytime you see something in the screen, you can freeze it and you can type the exact word in the screen and you will find it in Google. Prophet Google is very helpful. Like even if I don't show you the reference, the numbers as an example here, it might be even better for you if you type like a sentence, full sentence as exactly as it is in Google, and you will find the reference. Who is a Muslim would like to show us something? We are willing to change the topic, by the way. If you are willing to show us a proof of Allah existence in any way, in any mean. If you can show us a proof that the Quran is a book of God, please feel free. And we are here not against Muslims, we are here speaking against the cult of Islam. I'm not against you. Yeah, we spoke about that, ABC, about the death of Muhammad. You can watch my previous video. If you go back in my channel, it says who killed the prophet. You can watch it.